Today, I'm beyond honored to welcome back a guest who is redefining what it means to be truly empowered in your financial life. Viki Chervenkova has created a groundbreaking new program that weaves together crystal clear financial clarity, confidence in your money story, modern wealth strategies, actionable planning, and a transformative mindset, as well as a roadmap to financial freedom. If you've ever felt overwhelmed, if you've ever felt overwhelmed by money, stuck in old stories, or unsure how to build sustainable wealth from a place of alignment, this episode is for you. Get ready for an eye-opening, heart-expanding conversation that could change the way you relate to money forever. Viki, welcome back into the heart. I'm excited to have you here, and I'm so curious about the financial program that you have created and would love for you to share more with our listeners.
Hi, Amy, and thank you so much for having me back. It's wonderful to be here again and speaking with you about my favorite topic, managing and investing money, but in a totally different spotlight, totally different approach to how we are used to being presented with different strategies and different programs that will basically teach you the mechanics of how things work or having, all these other kinds of programs that will only work on the mindset.
Yeah.
So this program is unique in its blending of both the mindset work, in our case, goddess archetype work,
Mhm.
plus the strategic, part, the planning and the actual financial instruments that you can use to start building sustainable wealth.
I love that. Your program talks about getting crystal clear around your financial clarity. What does that look like in someone's everyday life, and how can people get there?
Yeah. Well, first of all, yeah, the clarity first comes with the mindset. So we take a very deep dive into limiting money beliefs, our past money stories, how we have grown up to believe what we believe about money and wealth and abundance, and then use our archetypes, our goddess archetypes, to help us find a new way, find our unique story that's within us and bring it to the surface. And only then, when we have, the ground cleared and we know what we are aiming for, and we have identified our unique personal strengths, and we can draw from the strengths and powers of the goddess archetypes, then we move on to learn the practical side, starting with getting a very clear picture of where you are right now financially. So we're looking at net worth, financial statements, goals for the future, and basically your values that you currently hold, and how to strategize, how to put together a plan for yourself that would honor these values. Because right now, what confuses a lot of people, and especially women, is that there's so many strategies, so many tips, and so many financial gurus that keep suggesting, new ideas, try this, try that, and people fall for it. And it's not a bad thing. Some of these things really work very well for some people, but for others, it's overwhelming because while you get the tactical part, you don't really feel it aligned with your true self. And sooner or later, you will drop that strategy because it doesn't align with it.
Right. Yes. I definitely hear what you're saying. And I'm thinking about, as you're speaking, about how many different money stories there must be out there that we all walk around with. And I know you wrote a book about all the different archetypes, and um, could you share a little bit about, for those of who may be listening to you for the first time, and I highly recommend that you go back and listen to our first episode that we recorded together regarding the book that Viki wrote and about money goddesses. And now I am really curious about these money stories that we carry within us, maybe in our subconscious mind. Maybe we don't even realize that we're walking around believing something about our relationship to money. And what would be the first step for a woman to start identifying with that narrative with maybe more compassion and maybe to start shifting that?
Yeah. Well, that's the part I love the most. It's the most beautiful part when you, but it takes a lot of courage. Okay,
Yeah.
that's yeah, the prerequisite.
Yes.
You need to be willing to start digging deeper within yourself.
Yeah.
So it may come like figuring out these limiting money beliefs. And I'm talking about limiting money beliefs, but we shouldn't forget that there are also a lot of empowering money beliefs. If we take a look at how rich families raise their children, the stories that they inherit are completely different from the stories that, for example, we in Eastern Europe were raised with.
Hmm.
And it's all starting with the environment, starting from your family, your close surroundings, your friends, the culture that you grow up in.
Hmm.
So that's why I'm saying there are different kinds. Some can be very empowering, others can be totally disserving you.
Yes.
But until you sit down and make some space to examine what you believe to be true, what you have been raised to believe,
Yeah.
um, that's the key moment, really.
Yeah. You know, something that comes up for me when I think of my story and my family of origin and where where I'm informed about money originally anyway, was that money was something you had to work very hard to get and to hold on to as well. And so,
Mhm.
generating wealth from that mindset is a leap. So, when you say taking courage to look at those beliefs, how would you guide someone like me, for example, with that limiting belief to expand my belief system?
So I would first invite you to have a date with your money,
Okay.
right? Have a look at your relationship with money as a concept. And for some people, this could be very strange
Mm,
because when we talk about relationships, we usually think about relationships with people or, even with animals or, all of the like living nature around you,
mhm,
living things. But when you say a relationship with a concept or an idea, which is what money is, it is a concept, then it becomes a little bit weird. So I would first invite you to imagine money as a person and see what that person looks like for you. Do you like them? Or do you feel attracted to them? Do you want to go and have a dance with them, feel joyful around them?
mhm.
Or if they enter the room, you would rather go to the other end and just hide, right? So when we personify money,
Mhm,
we just make it easier for us to understand our own feelings.
mhm,
And once these feelings start coming up to the surface, then we can take a look at them and go deep with them. Like, why do I feel like this? Where does this fear come from? Why is it overwhelming me? You know, can I see somebody else actually act differently with money? Why is that? So
yeah.
you start comparing stories because when you realize, and this is really hard for some people to realize that what you believe about money is simply a story and it can be changed.
Mhm,
So I invite people when they write down what they believe about money, like it's hard to get money, you need to put in a lot of hours or do some over, what was it called? The overworking, the overtime. You have to do some overtime if you want to bring in some more money.
Right.
And
Or have a side
I
hustle.
simply invite them to, yeah, to find just one example in life. It might be from your life, from somebody you know personally, or somebody just in a public space
Mhm.
that proves that the opposite is possible.
Mm,
That's where you start. You just see that it could be possible to have another way of dealing with money.
mm,
That unlocks a whole different world.
yeah.
If you just, you know, assume, see the possibility of doing it differently.
Mhm. I really like that idea. Yes, I love the idea of taking money on a date or even relating to money as a figure, if you will, like an archetypal figure. For me, I think I have come to understand it as a relationship for sure, maybe more on an energetic level. I don't know that I've ever envisioned it as a person and what that would look like, but I absolutely am going to try that. Yeah.
You will be surprised what might come up.
Okay, yes. I'm going to take your word for it. Yes. I'm looking forward to that. Yeah. So, could you also then speak a little bit into developing how we can develop this transformative mindset that you speak of from a hustle mentality that we're used to uh, having to go after money, and maybe instead of pursuing money, allowing money to flow to us?
Well, this is the moment where one of the goddess archetypes comes into the scene, comes in the spotlight because she is the personification of abundance and flow that comes naturally to you.
Mhm.
This is the archetype of Lakshmi, and seeing her radiant self just be out there and be inviting to money to come to her is one of the ways actually that you can start shifting that perception of you have to chase money and instead just invite it, just let it come to you.
Mhm.
This is one of the most difficult shifts that I personally went through
Okay.
because all my life I've been chasing stuff, right? It's not just about money, but it started with my education, my relationship with my husband. It actually started like this. I was the one to
Mhm.
take initiative and then be patient to let things happen naturally.
Yeah.
But all my life, I've had this urge to prove myself, to do something. I was in that doing state
Mhm.
instead of the being state. And this archetype invites us to go into the being and invite the energies, just work with the energies to invite money. But it is one of the toughest shifts. And for some people, it can happen, in a click,
Mhm.
because sometimes you just get this light bulb moment that shifts everything in an instant.
Sure. Yeah.
For me, it was a process.
The
And
process.
for most people, it is a process. The
Yeah.
beautiful thing about working with archetypes is when you realize that you have them all inside of you as potentiality.
Mhm.
And it's only a matter of some exercises and some um, practical things that you can start doing in your everyday life to embody more of the archetype that you need to call in, whose strengths you need at that specific moment.
Mhm.
And that's where, that's the key
Mhm.
to realize that you have them all inside of you and just call in the one that you need.
Yeah. I love that. So, along that very line, what would be an actionable step for our listeners who could start something they could start using today in order to shift this mindset, whatever their mindset may be? Because I realize there's many archetypes, right? And they may need to draw information or wisdom from the different archetypal figures that you describe in your book. But what could be an actionable step towards engaging with a shift that might be practical for them?
Yeah. Again, it depends on the archetype that you want to work with.
Sure.
First, if you go through the book, you could identify yourself more strongly with one specific archetype, but then you see that you have some of the others inside of you,
Yeah.
and you need to decide which one you need to work with, right? Or which one you need to awaken in yourself. She is dormant, she's there, but
Okay.
she needs some awakening, right?
Hmm.
So in the program, I offer really a lot of different exercises, but depending on the specific archetype that you need to call in. For
Okay.
example, if you need to awaken Athena, and we know she's about strategy, she's about planning and long-term goal setting. And if you notice that you're not really that kind of person, but you need to start doing some of this stuff, then you then you yeah you do some exercises to start awakening. For example, for an Athena, it might be start to track your expenses for a week, just a week, just something little. But that will get you in more into the practical, the strategic side,
Okay.
strategic aspect of yourself. If it's Lakshmi that you need to call in, then it's about feeling the femininity, the feminine energy inside of you. So I would suggest something like having a massage, or getting yourself something little, something beautiful. It doesn't need to be expensive, but something sparkling, for example. The I think it was a month ago, probably. We were shopping with my husband,
Uh-huh.
and as I realized I am, in the process of awakening my Lakshmi, I saw this absolutely ridiculous um a wheel wrap, for my car,
Oh,
the thing
okay.
that you put on the wheel, and
Sure.
it was all sparkling with like little stones that would reflect the light. And when I saw it, I was like, oh my God, I have to get this. And, and my husband was in shock, right? Because it was nothing like what I would, like in my usual self. But
Sure.
my Lakshmi, when she saw it, she was like, "Oh my God, I have to get it." And it was like $10 or something. It was so cheap.
So
But
that lit you up, literally.
absolutely, absolutely. And he was very surprised because he's only starting to see this side of me.
Yeah.
And yeah, and ever since I have it on my in my car, I find so much joy in watching the sun reflect and create these beautiful colors and sparks. And little things like this
Mhm.
are capable of awakening, the goddess of abundance and of beauty and of flow.
Well, that's magic. I love that. It's a simple thing, right? I love when there are simple ways to awaken different parts of ourselves, and that you can find that in the joy of something sparkly. How beautiful.
Yeah, yes,
I
it
love,
definitely is. And it's such a joy when you start discovering these parts in yourself and you allow yourself to get into those different parts and see how they show up for you and just enjoy them. Because
yeah,
when we try to suppress, when we try to keep ourselves in the framework of the identity that we are used to, we're missing on so much fun that's available also if we just open up a little bit.
yeah. I love adding fun into anything that we do into life. Sometimes we take things so seriously, and particularly maybe around money,
Oh
because,
yeah.
well, it just depends, I guess, on what we believe about it. And
Oh, this is a beautiful way to lighten up,
yes.
that tight relationship with money and seeing it
Mhm.
as this serious thing that you have to chase and work hard to get.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It's so inviting, and I feel the energy just by you describing it, your own energy shifting around the story of money and your relationship to it, and it's so inviting and welcoming to have this playful sort of energy around it. It's not something that I'm accustomed to, and I really enjoy listening to you speaking about it. Do you see money as a mirror for your own personal transformation?
I do, definitely, I do. And it comes up a lot with how I see the worth of what I'm doing. And because we put a price tag on, what we bring into the world, and that's related, of course, to money.
Sure.
I see this really rise to the surface for me right now. I am in the process, but I'm I'm just watching myself as I start to feel more and more comfortable
Yeah.
with the value that I bring in.
Value is a real key piece. Self-worth. I think a lot of us, when we tap into what it means for us to truly understand our worth, it really enables us to access a deep part of our belief system and how we respond and react to the world and our relationship to things, and maybe also our buying power, as well as our ability to understand our relationship that money is an exchange, right? Or at least that's a belief system I have, that money is a way to exchange things, to either
Yeah.
buy something or gain something, or whether it's an object or a service or uh, a, a way of giving something value to
Mm,
experience maybe. I think we've talked about that before in our previous conversation. You talked about maybe, you know, uh, how wonderful it is to maybe just go and treat yourself to a nice latte, or, buy yourself a nice bag, or whatever it is that adds a sense of value. I'm worth it. It doesn't have to be expensive. It just has to be a
yeah.
recognition of worthiness. Can you share a little
Yeah.
bit more about that? About
Yeah.
self-worth.
Well, when we discuss this notion of self-worth, what comes to my mind is the shadow side of the archetype of Isis.
Mm,
So Isis, the ancient Egyptian goddess, she represents motherhood, she represents nurturing and a really radical transformation and revival of things that have been shattered and lost.
mhm,
Uh, but in the shadow of Isis, we see a lot of women overextending, overexerting, over giving of themselves for others, or for the job, or kids, parents, you name it. And then there's just so little left to really have the feeling of self-worth that's beyond what you give to others.
mm,
This is a very subtle moment because if you tend to identify yourself with the one who gives and nurtures and protects and keeps others' lives together,
mhm,
but you don't look into yours, your inner world, your outer world, then it comes to a point where you can't see your own worth because you're just so busy
yeah.
fixing everything for everyone else. And as you said, starting with small things that remind you of the value that you have inside of you just because you are you and there's no one else like you.
Yeah,
That's that's where, the shift starts to happen. Just a little bit, it's step by step. As I say, it's a process. It
sure.
doesn't happen overnight. Yeah.
Of course.
Um, but getting back that connection to
Hmm.
your self-worth and to what you have inside of you,
Yeah,
it's so, so essential.
yeah.
Absolutely.
I can definitely see that. I hear a lot about manifesting and manifestation. And oftentimes it's in relationship to money. How do I manifest more money? Can you speak a little bit about what ways the archetypes allow you to guide your clients to deepen their relationship with manifestation?
Yeah. Oh, I love that question. Because I will tie it back to self-worth
Okay.
and having this exchange of value, because money is energy that we exchange for something that we get.
Yeah.
So one huge misconception in manifestation, especially around manifesting money, is that you can just, sit around and repeat your affirmations or whatever work you're doing, and money will just appear out of nowhere.
Hmm.
And sometimes it might work. You may win the lottery, right? But it's not sustainable. It's not something that you can keep doing and manifesting because it lacks this exchange, right? You are not giving anything,
Hmm.
but you're expecting to gain something.
Mm.
And with the archetypes, we can use the archetype of Lakshmi
Hmm.
to manifest more money into our life. Because once we open, the concept of abundance as something that is coming through to us, we match that outer abundance that we want with the abundance within us. So
Mm.
you nurture first what's inside so that it can match the outer world and bring it to yourself
Yes.
in exchange for something, right? No, we're
Yeah.
not forgetting that part.
Yes.
Uh, so Lakshmi is the one who teaches us to feel more and more abundant and wealth in a lot of different ways. Not, you don't really need to focus only on money.
Yeah.
Like if you look at your bank account and you say I only have $10 in it, where's the abundance, right? How can I feel the abundance if I don't see it?
Yeah.
But if you look around, only in your house, I
Hmm.
bet there's an abundance of stuff there, right? We all have
Yes.
a lot of things,
Mhm.
unless you're a minimalist, right? But then abundance comes in a different form, which
That's
is
true.
time and freedom,
Yeah.
right? uh, but starting to notice abundance in all different shapes and forms around you, this is the key to raising, that frequency within yourself, so the manifestations can come in more easily. You don't push, you receive. And that's the lesson that Lakshmi has for us.
Okay.
Don't push, learn to receive.
Yeah. Yes. I I definitely can identify with that. And first of all, having a vibrational match, like having a desire and knowing that within you there is something of equal value, right? That you're not just sitting there with your hand out, but that you are actually have something to offer. It reminds me really of well, the universal law of cause and effect of giving and receiving. It's all sort of tied in energetically to the exchange that you were just talking about.
Yeah, yeah. And when you said raising that vibration, raising the frequency at which we vibrate energetically, I will go back to the example with the sparkling wheel,
Yes.
wrap thing. Like small things like this that uplift us, right? They raise our energy, because every time I look at it, I just can't help but smile, right? I feel so much joy.
Sure.
And when you surround yourself with little things like this, you can keep your vibration high, right? Because it's not a just having a spike, then downwards, spike and downwards, but trying to raise the vibration and keep it there. And when you surround yourself
Hmm.
with items or people, relationships that help you maintain that frequency,
Hmm.
then you are set. You're ready for the manifestation process.
Hmm. Beautiful. You know, Vicky, I'm wondering if you would share with our listeners about this new program that you've created, the Grow, and I'm going to let you share with us this exquisite thing that you have created for us to deepen our relationship to money.
Absolutely. So we talked a lot about, the mindset work and working with the goddess archetypes, how to call them in, how to watch out for signs that we might be going into their shadow side, and what can we do to shift that. In the program, we explore a lot of that. That's how the program starts. As I said, that's the groundwork that we need to cover first.
Got it.
Then the program goes into the practical side of actually managing my money, and starting to invest on your own, but keeping in mind the archetypal work. So everything that we do in the program, the practical stuff, the strategies, the financial advice that we get from experts, that say this is like the thing that you need to do if you're just starting out.
Hmm.
We tie it to a specific archetype that goes with it. For example, if it's about planning, if it's about setting goals, we need to tap into Athena's archetype, right? Because she's the one to bring the clarity and the long-term vision. If it's about bringing in more cash,
Hmm.
right? Ways to um, increase your income, then we can turn to Lakshmi, how to make that flow easy and more feminine, work more with the feminine energetics of money. Another example, when we learn how to organize our financial life, then we call in Isis's ability to piece things together, to have a look at everything that's available, like all different things that you can do, and get the ones that will work for you and create your own plan. I'm giving a lot of ideas, but it's up to the program participant to pick the ones that will work in their specific situation. So we cover both the practical and the mindset, and we keep the mindset work, how to say that, available, right? We keep it in mind when we do the practical stuff. And this is how we bring the two types of energy of money. And I like to say that money is like a holistic energetic field, but it has two sides. It has the masculine side and the feminine side. While the masculine is more about earning and hustling and grinding and figuring out ways how to make more and do more and all of that, the feminine side is about how to manage this money that comes to you, how to circulate it, where to spend, what to spend on, why. That's a big one. Why this and not that? Why choose one option, but just disregard another one? When that this is tied to your values
Hmm.
and to your archetype, it all makes sense, and
Mm,
it becomes so much easier, right? So we look at both ways. It's a very holistic approach
mhm.
to the different energies around money.
Oh,
And yeah, and the program actually ends with learning how to invest on your own.
mm,
Um, I offer this very, very simple strategy, long term, low cost, low risk. It's nothing secret. I haven't invented it, right? But every time I've read about it and I have applied it, of course, in my own life,
sure.
um, it turns out to be that one specific strategy that financial experts recommend as something that every beginner, can start with. And it's beautiful how it ties together all the different archetypes into this into this vehicle.
Mhm. It's very empowering. I see the end result as being something very enticing and desirable and quite empowering. And I think that what you've created seems like a really great blueprint for people to begin navigating the difficulties that they may have with money if they don't already have an established relationship with it.
Yeah, yeah, and that's what I love most about the program because it takes you step by step through the different stages,
Mhm,
starting with the mindset, then looking at what you currently have in your reality, what you're experiencing with money, what you can do to optimize what you already are doing,
mhm,
and then step into this strategy that I share with participants. But yet, it is all meant to empower individuals, especially women, because it is designed specifically for women
sure.
um, to to empower them, to help them reclaim their clarity and their sovereignty over money.
Yeah. It's bold, it's forward, and very powerful. I really like it. And
Thank you.
how can our listeners find out more about your program and your book and your services? Would you please share that with us?
Sure. So the shortest way to do all of that in one is simply go to my website. I have all the information there. It's evemma.eu. So I'll spell that EVEMMA dot EU. It has information about the book. It does have a free quiz. I don't know if we mentioned that last time, but it does have a free quiz to help you identify which money goddess is like your primary archetype,
Oh,
right? So that's a beautiful starting point. Getting some, be curious,
yeah,
try it out. Um, I also have a free training
okay.
that is like a complete overview of the whole program, and I tried to keep that as short as possible, but there was just so much that I wanted to share, so it's about an hour and a half
Okay.
of training that's also available.
Okay.
And yeah, and you can see the contact details there. If you want to find me on Facebook or WhatsApp, I am open to different ways of connecting with people because we all have different preferences in the way we communicate with each other. So
Yeah.
I'm open to all kinds. Yeah.
Wonderful. Yes. Thank you. These are beautiful gifts. I
Absolutely.
love your quiz and your free training, and what that's really terrific that you're willing to be so generous and give people the opportunity to get a little taste of what it is that you have to offer. Yeah,
Yeah. Oh, my pleasure. That's the whole point. I
yeah,
really want people to and women to see that there is a different way. It doesn't have to be hard. It doesn't have to be overwhelming. And starting with something fun and easy like a quiz or a training
yeah.
could just crack that opening to see that it might be possible to do things in a different way.
Love it. Absolutely love it. I always enjoy talking to you, Vicky. I love your energy. I love what you're bringing into the world in a positive way, in a real empowering way for us to have a healthy relationship and a healthy attitude and mind around money.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Amy.
Yes, thank you. And I just have a vision that your program is going to be a huge success, and I hope that people that are listening will do indeed look you up. I will put your information in the show notes too, so that they can access that information. And I look forward to talking to you in the near future again.
Thank you. Me too. Thank you.
Okay.